I returned from the hospital with my side still throbbing. The incision from the gallbladder surgery, pulling tight with every careful step. I took up the porch stairs of my modest home in the quiet suburbs of Westchester, New York. It had been a rough 5 days. Emergency removal after a sudden attack that left me doubled over in pain. One ordinary Tuesday morning. I'd called my stepdaughter, Lydia, in a panic, but her voicemail had been the only response. No visits, no calls, not even a text from her or her husband, Mark. I told myself they were busy. After all, they were always hustling with their real estate dreams. But deep down, that silence stung more than the stitches. At 68, I wasn't naive. I'd been an accountant for 35 years before retiring, crunching numbers for small businesses in the city. My late husband, Frank, and I had built our life around stability. Our little corner deli in the heart of our neighborhood, Hayes's Deli, which we'd run together until his passing from cancer 6 years ago. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. A staple for locals, grabbing fresh bagels, cold cuts, and that sense of community you can't find in chain stores. After Frank died, I'd kept it going on a shoestring, living off my IRA withdrawals and the deli's modest profits. Lydia, whom I'd raised as my own since she was 10, when I married Frank, had moved in with Mark about 2 years back, temporarily, after their first condo flip flopped. They'd promised to help with the deli in exchange for free rent upstairs. Help. What a joke that turned out to be. I fumbled with my keys, the small bag of hospital toiletries slung over my shoulder. A cab had dropped me off. No one to pick me up, of course. Pushing open the door, the familiar chime of the bell above it greeted me, but the house felt off. The air smelled of fresh espresso, not the usual mix of rye bread and pickles from the deli below. I shuffled into the kitchen, which doubled as the deli's back office, and froze. There, gleaming under the fluorescent lights, was a brand new espresso machine, the kind you'd see in a high-end Manhattan cafe. Chrome finish, digital display, probably cost a couple grand. Next to it, the old coffee pot I'd used for years looked shabby and forgotten. What in the world? I muttered, setting my bag down. The ledger books on the desk were open, pages marked with sticky notes in Lydia's neat handwriting. And then I saw the labels. Oh, those damn labels. They'd stuck them everywhere. On the filing cabinets, L&M Partners, financials only. On the customer order binders, premium accounts, do not touch. Even on the office supplies drawer, ours, upgrades funded. It was like they'd carved up my business into territories, claiming pieces as their own, while I'd been laid up in a hospital bed, fighting off infection and wondering if anyone cared. Lydia emerged from the deli front, wiping her hands on an apron that looked new. Designer, probably. She was 38, sharp-featured with that perpetual glow of ambition. Her dark hair pulled into a sleek ponytail. Mark followed, tall and slick in his button-down, holding a tablet like it was his lifeline. "Eleanor, you're back," Lydia said, her voice a mix of surprise and forced cheer. No hug, no, "How are you feeling?" Just a quick glance at Mark before adding, "We weren't expecting you so soon. The doctor said it might be another day." I discharged myself early. Felt well enough, I lied, ignoring the ache. "What's all this?" "The machine. The labels." Mark cleared his throat, setting the tablet down. "Oh, that. We figured it was time for some upgrades. The deli's been doing okay. Better actually with our tweaks. We added ourselves as silent partners last month. Nothing big, just to formalize things. Helps with the books. Silent partners." I repeated, my accountant's brain kicking in despite the pain meds fogs. In my deli, without asking me, Lydia smiled that placating smile I'd seen too many times. "Eleanor, you've been so stressed since Dad died. We thought it'd be a relief. We're handling the premium side. Espresso drinks, artisanal sandwiches, for the yuppie crowd moving in. Your basics stay the same. See? We labeled everything to avoid mix-ups. Fair, right? Fair. The word echoed like a bad check. I flipped open the ledger, my eyes scanning the entries. Numbers didn't add up. Profits skimmed. Expenses inflated. A quick glance showed transfers to an account I didn't recognize. These figures, they've been altered. Where's the money going? Mark laughed dryly. Altered? Nah, just modernized. Your methods are outdated, Eleanor. Pencil and paper. We're using apps now. That money's reinvested in the machine, marketing. We're flipping this place into something profitable, like our condos. I felt the floor tilt. Flipping. My deli wasn't a property to flip. It was my legacy, but I was too exhausted to argue. I'm going to lie down, I murmured, heading upstairs to my room, the one they'd borrowed space from for their office setup. As I passed, I heard them whispering, "She'll come around once she sees the profits." That night, sleep evaded me. The pain from surgery was nothing compared to the gnawing betrayal. I'd raised Lydia after her mother left, treated her like blood. Frank and I had no kids of our own, so she was it. We'd paid for her college, her wedding to Mark, even seeded their first real estate venture. And now this, silent partners, skimming my life savings. My IRA statements had been coming irregularly. Lydia handled the mail to help. Suspicion bloomed. The next morning, I pretended normalcy. Down in the deli, customers milled about. Old-timers like Mr. Rossi, grabbing his usual pastrami on rye. Lydia manned the new espresso station, chatting up a young couple about organic beans. Mark was in the back, on a call. "Yeah, the deli's collateral. We can leverage it for the next flip." Collateral. My heart pounded. I slipped into the office when they weren't looking and pulled the full ledgers. Hours later, auditing in secret upstairs, the truth unraveled. They'd forged my signature on partnership papers, adding themselves without consent. Profits diverted, $15,000 in the last 6 months alone, to their condo flips. Tax forms manipulated. They'd underreported income to dodge IRS scrutiny, but overreported expenses tied to my name. It was fraud, plain and simple, elder financial abuse. If I recalled from those AARP seminars. Overhearing them that evening sealed it. From my room, voices drifted up. "Once we force her retirement, the deli's ours," Mark said. "She's outdated anyway. We'll rebrand, sell high." Lydia hesitated. "But she's family, Mark. Family that holds us back. Think of the baby. We need stability. Baby." She was pregnant? The revelation twisted the knife, but it didn't soften the resolve hardening in me. I needed help. My old colleague, Harold, a forensic accountant retired in the city, was my first call. "Eleanor, this is serious," he said over the phone. "Sounds like fraud. Get copies of everything. I'll review pro bono." With his guidance, I photographed documents, emailed scans. Harold confirmed. Clear embezzlement, forged docs, tax evasion. You could whistleblow to the IRS. They protect informants. Offer rewards even. Next, a lawyer from the local senior center, Ms. Ramirez, specialized in elder law, will dissolve the partnership, sue for back profits. But first, secure your assets. Change locks on the books. Freeze joint accounts. It took a week of stealth. I acted frail, letting them handle things while I gathered evidence. One night, I confronted them alone first, testing waters. In the kitchen, ledgers spread out. "What's this about silent partners? Forged signatures?" Lydia paled. "Eleanor, it's for your own good." "You're not well," Mark smirked. "Outdated methods justify updates. We deserve a cut. We're building value." "Value? By stealing?" I shot back. They gaslit me. "You're paranoid post-surgery. Rest up." But I was done resting. With Harold and Miss Ramirez, we built the case. IRS whistleblower forms, filed anonymously at first. Bank froze the Deli's account on my request. Then, the big reveal. They came home from a viewing to find me, Harold, Ms. Ramirez, and a notary in the living room. "What's this?" Mark demanded. "Confrontation," I said steadily. "You've embezzled $28,000 now. Docs prove it. Forgery, tax fraud. IRS is involved." Lydia's hand flew to her belly. "Eleanor, no." Ms. Ramirez laid out options. Repay, dissolve partnership, or face charges. Mark blustered, but Lydia cracked. It was his idea. I just went along. The room exploded. Mark stormed out, abandoning Lydia mid-argument. She sobbed, pregnant and alone. We sued. Court dissolved the partnership, awarded back profits. IRS audited, fined them heavily. Mark fled, leaving debts. Lydia, facing probation, sought shelter. With me, tentatively, I was wrong. She admitted months later, baby bump showing. Can we rebuild? For the grandbaby. Cautious, I agreed. The Deli relaunched as a co-op, community-owned. Profits shared, no more silent thieves. And as little Frankie Jr. arrived, hope flickered. Family rebuilt, on my terms.